Corrections are encouraged. And blah, blah,
We got a cup of coffee in here, please.
We're all just a little slow in waking up while other people, they just are up. They're morning people. And I don't know. Just
damn good coffee and hot.
And hot. Good morning, people. It is Wednesday. No, Thursday. I'm already off a day. You know, the call thing set me off a day. It's Thursday, March 2nd, 2023. You're almost done with your work week. How does that feel? You happy now? Listen, I just checked in over on Dystopia Tonight's live stream for MS. And John and Tom have been going at it since 9 o'clock last night, going at it. What I mean by going at it is just live streaming with different guests. But they are 100% fresher and more awake than I am. Now, as I talked to John on Monday, don't think that they sleep up until the moment of the podcast. They're up all day. So you're up all day yesterday till 9 p.m. to start the show, and then start the show at 9 p.m. And they're still up, and they look much more fresh and awake than yours truly. Just this, that's just how it is. I'm an old, tired, old dog. And you can't teach an old, tired dog new tricks. Anyway, I thought I was going to be on that and get to hang with Rob Bartlett. I think Rob Bartlett was on like 2 a.m. I don't know. I didn't check back at 2 a.m. But I got, I got a couple of DMs that suggested, yeah, we don't really need you. Kind of hurts a little bit. Hurts my feelings just a little bit. Not really. I did want to get a chance to meet Rob Bartlett, even in cyber way of meeting, cyber talk. But I'd much rather sleep at 2 a.m., to be honest with you. I am to the point in life where sleep is a very precious commodity. I don't get enough of it, and I cherish the moments that I do get. Today, Andrew Riggs, comedian, will be with me. Andrew's been with me before on the evening program. Funny guy. He is originally from Kentucky, moved to New Jersey because of his wife. That's where his wife's family is. And then moved back to like the Cincinnati area, which is kind of like Ohio, Kentucky. It's kind of like Cincinnati is more like Kentucky than it is Ohio, even though it's in Ohio, if that makes any sense at all. It's kind of like, it's kind of like Staten Island feels more like New Jersey than New York, even though it's in New York. Does that make sense? Probably not. I'll just go back to bed. I'll go back to sleep. How's that? Anyway, there's snow out in California still, and again, 2 weeks of snow in California. Big problem. And the rest of the nation, or the middle part of the country, is expecting tornadoes. This is the time of year for that. Tornadoes are some scary shit. If you have never been to one or them, pretty bad stuff. And so I don't know what's worse. That's the question that comes up a lot with this. California has earthquakes. Now they have snowfall, but with their normally beautiful weather, people ask, well, what's worse, the earthquakes in California or the hurricanes in Florida? We don't really talk about the tornadoes because I think tornadoes are worse than both. Although an earthquake, if it's severe enough, pretty scary shit and can cause like tremendous damage, as we've seen, can kill people. Tornadoes, powerful, scary storms. Anyway, so we're wishing the best for everybody. I hope everybody stays safe and all that stuff. Carl is on his way to Tennessee this morning. He might be on a plane right now. Uh, the unknown person in the chat room says, "Will they have quake snow?" That's, you're making light of serious, death-threatening situations. Typical, typical of somebody who refuses to come on the show and flick the bean. Typical, shameful. Anyway, my friend Carl might be on a plane right now, which to Tennessee, and I'm thinking, does Tennessee fall into that? I don't think so. The tornado alley. I don't think Tennessee is in there. You never hear about big old terrible storms in Tennessee, do you? I have a shoot to go to today. Speaking of flicking the bean, places beans. Um, I don't know. I personally, I shouldn't say this. Should I say this? I would be reluctant. I'm not a bean guy. Flicking any kind of bean. I'm not a bean guy. Beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. This is why I'm not sure. I mean, I could see a coffee place, and you call it Cool Beans. There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those on Long Island. It's wondering, like, and they're not the same company. Like, you should check your name and make sure that nobody else has it before you open a business. But there's a lot of Cool Beans. Beans Restaurant. I don't know. It make me think, well, is everybody in there farting? I don't want to go into a stinky restaurant that smells like farts. Do you? Oh, well, that's the voice again. Hello, I'm Jordan Peterson, and welcome to Coffee with the Dog. Um, I don't know why that happens sometimes lately. It's like my voice is changing again. I went through this at 12, and now I'm going through it again. I'm reverting back to childhood. Anyway, what? Oh, the owner's last name is Beans? No, no. Good morning, William. Anyway, you go into puberty. Reverse puberty. Everything's in reverse. Everything is in reverse. Everything is going ass backwards. So there's that. You know, they used to call. That's kind of a serious subject, but they used to call Alzheimer's second childhood, like senility, second childhood. And there's a lot of truth to that. I remember being around old people when I was a young kid, and they treated them like children, like people with severe dementia. Um, so I don't know. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? In some ways, I want to be a happy idiot. I want to be able to tune out the world and just have no responsibility, no care. Nothing. It's kind of like my evening guests who don't show up and don't even tell me they're not going to show up, which happened again last night with a doctor who invented the Q collar. Maybe these people are listening to the morning show. Did you cut the top of your head? Yes. No, that's Carl. Carl did that to me. I don't want to have to explain exactly what Carl did to me on the top of my head. But yes, thank you for noticing the orca like scratch in the top of my head. Where the hell was I? Oh, the doctor with the Q collar thing. So I'm thinking, because yesterday I did call his little Q collar thing a miracle cure and said, I'm ready. But I am just I'm tired, sick and tired of all the ridiculous claims that people make, whether it is the think and be happy people, or I got a miracle machine that all you have to do is put your photograph in and it will cure your aura, cure your energy field, no matter where you are, no matter what your problems are remotely. That guy. I still haven't cut up reels for that guy. He was just too wacky. Or the I invented this little gadget that can save. I'm tired of these people. Everybody wants to get rich. Everybody wants to make money. I think it's all about money or fame or whatever the motivation is. They're trying to scam the world. Scamming the world's not a good thing. Scam anybody. Scamming people. And I'm not saying Dr. Q Collar was a scam artist. I'm saying maybe he heard me insinuate yesterday morning that I might be a little rough on him with the questioning about this thing you just put on your neck and it automatically cures your traumatic brain injury. And then he decided I'm not going to show up on his show. But he could have called and said, I heard what you said on the morning show, and because of that, I'm not coming. I'm scared. I'm scared that you're going to expose me, or I'm scared you're going to ask me tough questions. Or I'm scared I'm going to have to ask a why, how does it work? The premise he starts out with, I'm a little upset with Dr. Smith, by the way. Dr. Smith, is that even your real name? Or you're just checking into a hotel with a underage girl? Is that the problem here? I'm sorry. Am I up for libel now? Um, I'm not happy with Dr. Smith. I'm not happy with all these no-shows, and it's about time I tried. Some Shavola said to me this morning in Facebook, or maybe last night, whenever he saw it, he's one of these early riser dudes, that I should charge a fee for rescheduling. I did, and I do. That doesn't seem to stop. You know what? There's always some dopey excuse. Time zones. Look, if you can't figure out time zones, how the hell did you invent a collar? And I'm not saying this time zones is his excuse. A collar that cures traumatic brain injury. How? How? You know, I should check in over on Facebook to see if Mr. Riggs is joining us. Did I send him a wrong link or something? Oh, I'm in the wrong whole world over here. Just hold on one second. Could you just hold on 1 second? Um, just hold on. Just hold on. I'm I'm Jordan Peterson, and you should clean up your room. Go clean up. Well, the first thing you know is your room gets dirty, and then oh my goodness, your whole life is off track and out of control. No, I haven't heard from Andrew. I was expecting him to lie. He was writing to me early this morning. Uh, did I send him a bad link? I wonder. I'm gonna send him. Oh, there he is now. Anyway, so Carl is on his way to Brett now. I don't know if I would like him to check in when he gets there. Carl's been a little um I don't know, inconsistent with checking in and letting people know where he is. I think last night he was up to no good. That's what I think. Around New York City. Um, Listen, if I were a lone bachelor in New York City, I'd probably be getting in trouble. And no matter what age, there is trouble to be had, especially when you have nobody to be accountable to. You could do whatever you want. Look at me, I'm doing a Mark Norman. Yeah, yeah. Hey, That's my Mark Norman impersonation. You don't really have to say much. You just have to scratch your chin. Hey, yeah. What's the deal with those? Anyway, it's a day. It's a day and a half today. I'm going to play my sponsors, and then I'm bringing Andrew Riggs. And I think you're going to enjoy Andrew, and you should follow him. I also posted on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, look at this dolphin blowhole I have on the top of my head. Josh Johnson, I'm telling you, follow Josh Johnson. Josh, he's got a special coming out on Peacock. And Peacock is NBC. Before I go to commercial here, I'll try to be quick about this so we can get Andrew in here. Peacock, Josh has a special coming out on Peacock. Josh is I didn't know about him until Tuesday night. We saw him at the stand, and he is one of the comedians to watch. He's young. He's not like a kid young. He's like probably around 30 or so. But I expect big things. I expect him to be one of the biggest names in comedy before long. Now, Peacock, I hate to say this, it's not. It's not Netflix. It's not Showtime. It's not Comedy Central even. um, it's not the place people go for comedy specials. I think not even Prime. Amazon Prime has a whole friggin' bunch. But go there and support Josh. Find out about him. Follow him. Go to my Twitter and get the link for him and follow him there. You'll thank me for it. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. I'm gonna play a commercial and then get back to and we'll be back to for you to meet Andrew Riggs in 1 second.
Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Our learning tools and massive library of video lessons will ignite your technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing chops. TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz, from Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists. You'll have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, fingerstyle, and acoustic guitar educators. Using our desktop and mobile apps, you'll work with TrueFire's multi-angle video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere. Integrated learning tools such as video synced tab and notation, slow-mo, looping, practice jam tracks, and many more handy controls accelerate your learning experience. TrueFire style-specific learning paths guide you every step of the way. Use our assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow our lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan. Progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, student forums, TrueFire's Riff magazine, premium jam tracks, and much, much more. With thousands of 5-star ratings and reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform. Grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Sign up free for an all-access trial today.
Yeah, sign up free. Bang, bang, boobity boop. Anyway, welcome back. TrueFire, man, that's a lot of stuff you get when you sign up for lessons. And you're taking lessons from some of the best guitar players in the world. So if you want to learn, TrueFire is the way. I mean, you can come to my house. I'll charge you $150 an hour to teach you the basics. Or you can go to Tommy Emmanuel and Steve Vai, and you saw that list of superstar guitar players, and get all that extra crap. Not crap, but it's extra stuff. Sign up, and you'll be happy you did. And you come back, thank me. And while you're taking your lessons, you can go watch Josh Johnson's special on HBO. Andrew Wiggs has been with me before. This is not the fastest, actually. I think Adam, the movie guy, was the fastest return visit to one of my programs. But Adam has never been on the morning program, and he's here now, and you're about to meet him. I think what happened was his wife told him, "You need a little more light." And so she turned on some lights, and we can see him better now. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your ears, open your minds, and help me welcome back to my program, but for the morning program for the very first time, Andrew Riggs. Andrew, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
All right, it's good. Your wife told you to turn on the lights, right?
Uh-huh.
Now it's morning. The light is just better. Last time you were a little dark, but that's
Yeah.
fine. You're you're hiding in the dark. Anyway,
Like, can you hear me all right?
what?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You sound fine.
Okay.
You could probably pick up a guitar and play like some background music for us if you want. Can you
Uh,
can you do that?
only
No.
bass.
So, what's been happening with you since it's been so long since I've seen you or heard from you? What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been almost a week. A lot has changed since then. I'm a year older in that week.
Yeah,
I'm I'm retired now.
you,
Uh,
you retired?
uh-huh. Yeah.
Wow, wow, holy smokes, that
Is-
happened fast. Now, I went out to the Stand in New York City. Ever been?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, great room, man. You know what? I love the room. I It's kind of weird going down to the room because I felt like I was being led to a gas chamber or some like weird the whole experience of going. We're gonna okay, you come on in, and then we sneak you down to the basement, and you got to go down all these stairs and around turns and stuff, and it feels like, and all these people are in like a cattle call type of thing, and it feels like you're being herded into your final destination. But once you get in the room, I love the room. It's small, it's intimate. The stage isn't too high. I love the look of the room. Well, all of that. So I think that's because not every comedy club has that. You get all sorts of weird feelings.
The the thing that I love about New York comedy clubs is everything's like so close together. You don't really have like here, for instance, if you go into like a funny bone or something, you're going to be in a huge room that'll fit about the same amount of people that are in those rooms, but it feels a lot less personal here.
Now, when you've worked in clubs, does the sound man just turn on a mic and then go home?
No, nah, no, never.
It seems that way to me because no matter they don't ever change the volume. So if you have somebody who comes up and they kind of enunciate and they project a little bit,
Mhm.
it's loud, and then somebody comes on talk like this and that. And for somebody like me, I can't appreciate comedy if I have to work really hard and I have to do this.
Um, I think that's it's part of just doing shows because not everybody's voice comes out the same way, and people that have been doing it for a while will like me. I'm more soft spoken, so I know that I have to hug the mic to my chin, and some louder people know that they shouldn't be doing that, but they're still just, hey, have you seen that? And
Yeah,
it's just you're just
yeah.
deaf in the front row now. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I like people who could work without a mic,
mm,
but again, I think this is what gets me because Jeannie Garofalo was the first actual comedian to come on after the host. The host was loud, and then she came on. She was very soft spoken, and I was like working to hear her. And I think that's the sound man's job. Just all right. Do you not notice how low she had put the mic up a little bit louder for her? I was like, help me out here. I want to enjoy her comedy. I don't want to make her feel like she's not funny, but I can't hear a word she's fucking
yeah.
saying.
Uh,
uh,
normally, like if they have to, normally the sound guy will like compensate for like the the people that are more softly spoken, but if you have a good sound system, you could just hug it to your mouth and like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe that guy went home. Maybe.
I don't think the performers realized that. I don't think Jeannie Garofalo realized that she was a lot lower than everybody. I think she would have done something to try to talk more directly into the microphone, or
Yeah.
something like that. But it's just weird. And I think this is, from my experience, comedy clubs, the sound guy, quite often, either really bassy sounds or low, and they have good sound systems. It's just like they're afraid of making it loud enough. Maybe they're not built for old people like me. If young people with good ears probably are. It's a way to keep the old folks out of the comedy club. I can't hear anyway. What the hell am I going in there for? Um,
Maybe.
Yeah, so here's a comedians that were I saw the other night, and I don't remember the name of one of the guys, but I saw Janine Garofalo, Jeannie, uh, Joe List,
Uh,
Josh Johnson, and Mark Norman.
okay.
And I was talking a little bit about Norman. Have you seen Norman live?
Yeah, I did a show with them at the comic strip.
You did a show with him. Oh, very cool. Now, did you get a chance to talk to him personally, meet him?
Kind of. Probably 5-10 minute conversation. I mean, it wasn't like anything like no in depth conversation, but yeah, he was a super nice guy.
The reason I ask is because it was I've seen him a couple of times, and I've seen this video. I've seen him on video a lot because I
Mm.
really appreciate his comedy. But Tuesday night, I was in a weird place, ate a couple of gummies, but it felt like he's a weird guy, and he doesn't connect with any individuals ever. Like, you'll see comedians working from the stage, and especially if they're doing crowd work, talk to somebody and talk to them directly, or even when they're doing their stuff, their material, they're
Mm.
looking out and making people feel like, I see you there, or whatever, looking directly at somebody every once in a while. We're working the stage. Norman is always doing this, like, hey, yeah, what's the deal with that? Whoa, whoa, whoa. But he'll never look anybody in the eye. And I was like, wow, it really hit me hard Tuesday night that this guy has got a real people problem. He's like,
I,
he's almost,
I think,
so I think,
well,
like,
I think a lot of that has to do with who he is, but also um, he takes like very big swings. Like he tries for the punchline. Like he's not going to go that hacky route with it. And I think maybe avoiding eye contact makes him more comfortable in taking those big swings because you're going to get such a diverse reaction from the audience that if you're making eye contact with one person on a new joke and that joke doesn't land, but you're only looking at that one person, you're like, oh, everyone else except for that person laughed, so no one laughed. It happens to me sometimes where I'm making eye
it
contact with
does.
one person, the rest of the room could laugh, but that one person doesn't, and I'm like, now I got to spend my time making this guy laugh. It's yeah, I
Well,
get it.
that could be a cool thing. You're working, you know what? The lead singer I work with, he is, to a fault, he will find somebody in the audience and then just do the show for that one person. And I'm
Uh,
like, there are 1,000 people here, and all you care about is one person. You're to me, I think you're neglecting a lot of people. Sometimes that could be a good thing, but I think if you work exclusively to one person, you're not paying attention to it. The rest of the room. Kind of a cold thing. Are you? I don't know. Are you a connecting person when you're on stage? Uh, do you welcome people into your world from the stage? Is the best way I could say it.
you mean like
I mean, the opposite of Norman, like where you just,
like trying to make a connection with the
yeah,
people that are
yeah.
there? Uh, it depends. If it's new stuff, probably not. Just if it's an open mic or booked open mic, whatever. Um, I would be more likely to just try to get through the material. I'm not going to be impersonal, so if like someone tries to talk to me or whatever, I'll respond. That's fine. I'll make eye contact. But if it's all new stuff, I I'm like I have to say this stuff. I don't know what it is about like me writing 5 new minutes. I have to do that 5 new minutes. But if it's like a set that I'm comfortable with, yeah, I'm in the crowd. I'm fine with that.
You ever second guess yourself and then like cut the material and go back to what you know that works?
Yeah.
I do it all the time. I mean, I go. I think I might have said this to you when you were on the evening show. I overthink things on my way to gigs and stuff. I experienced the gig 3 or 4 times before I've been there, and so go in with a plan sometimes, which is for me it's not a good thing to do. I'm best if I just treat it like, oh, stumble in late and just get through it and just not plan anything out. But sometimes I will go in there determined I'm going to do these 5 songs in a row, and they're all new original songs, and but then I do one and it doesn't get a response, and I'm back to doing cover material like that. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, there's also been jokes that like I get kind of frustrated. Like it's worked so many times and then doesn't work there, and I'm like, I should throw this bit away. It's never made anybody laugh. I guess I expect a certain amount of like reaction, and
You
then
ever like give up on a joke and then revisit it sometime later?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. I'll try it. I'll try a joke probably 3 times, and if it doesn't hit the way that it did, like if it's one out of those 3 times it gets what I think, and then the other 2 times it doesn't, then I'll scrap it, and then I'll come back if I'm building a bit that is, um, I guess, parallel to that, and I'll just put it in as a tagline or just a
Yeah.
means of expanding how long a bit lasts.
Are you familiar with Erica Rhodes?
No. Mm.
She's a comedian. She's very good. I follow her. And a couple of days ago, she was talking about having a panic attack. And she was going back and forth with somebody in her Twitter feed talking about panic attacks. And she said the worst ones, and she had one on stage and she was talking about that. And I was like, wow, man, I can't imagine. Like,
I've never been through that. That would suck
panic
so much.
attack. I've hit places where I felt like it wasn't going right, but I've never had a panic attack on stage. And I can't imagine for a stand-up comedian alone, because when me, if I feel like the gig's not going right, I have my band unless I'm doing a solo gig, but I generally have a band that can kind of lean on to say, how are we going to get through it? What do you think? But to be up there alone with a microphone and feel like you're tanking and then get that internal anxiety and holy shit, like a deer in the headlights moment.
Yeah.
I don't know how you
Um,
get through that.
so last night, I, last night I saw something that I guess redefined like every bad moment on stage that I've ever had, because for me, bombing is not doing well. But last night, for the first time ever, like in almost 6 years, I seen someone truly bomb, and I've never seen that before. Like 0 laughs in 5 minutes. I mean, radio silence for 5 minutes, and it redefined. Like it opened up my brain last night. I was like, oh, that's what that's supposed to feel like, because I just put this. I had the standard for myself where I may not do well. I've absolutely not done well, but I've never had 5 minutes of nothing.
Oh, I
That
have
was
seen I
ooh.
I have seen 10 comics in a night, and all there were only 10 comics on in a night. I've seen all 10 of them bomb drastically, and like a night of, did we just go to a comedy club, or was that like some kind of poet reading or something? Because it was, and it was, we were there to see a friend who was doing, he was in the middle of this 10 comic show, and he sucked, and that sucks when it's your friend and you're there, but he was the one of the better suckers of the. I mean, it was terrible. People were just like, I don't know. I was like, when does the funny start? And before you
Yeah,
know it, the show's over. It's really tough on the audience. You have no idea. I mean, I know from a performer's perspective what that feels like,
yeah,
but you have no idea what that feels like from an audience that wants to see you do good. From their perspective, they want to see you do good. They want to laugh, and they're like confused. Like for me, it was like the most awkward moment, and beyond wanting my money back, I wanted my night back. You know, give me my life back. Give me that day over again, because you just,
I'm gonna start a time paradox that stops me from coming into this club.
yeah. Um, Josh Johnson, yeah, are you familiar with him?
No,
Uh, he's from Louisiana, but I think he's probably been in New York for a while. But a really, really funny guy, but brave, and brave in a couple of different ways. And I just want to get your perspective on this. First of all, Joe List was up, and Joe List was killing. The whole room was laughing loud, and Joe List ends his set, and then Josh comes up, and he starts off with letting the laughter die down, and I'm like, for me, I would not. I would dread that moment. Like, okay, they're laughing hard. Don't let that slip. You capitalize it. Say something really funny right off the bat. You gotta hold on to this. Can't let him go. But he lets the room die down. He starts to build from silence, and I thought, wow, that's fucking brave.
yeah,
And then he did that, and then he got the room working for him, and then he goes into some political stuff, and political stuff that didn't. It wasn't like Jay Leno. Oh, hey, yeah, I'm just here to just tell jokes about both sides, and he was. It was definitely a pointed, opinionated slant. And I was like, wow, in today's culture, just going political is takes enough bravery. If you have something to say
sure.
that is truly funny, to go political takes some bravery. But to do it in a way that isn't appeasing both sides or giving both sides a feeling that, oh yeah, he's on my side, that's kind of a risky move, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. I don't have anything, but I have like one political joke, and it's like a one-liner. Um, I'll tell you, it's I think Joe Biden sounds like a drunk guy explaining stuff to a drunker guy. That's the only kind of political joke that I have,
Yeah.
and I
And
just
that's not really a political joke. That's a
yeah,
personal joke
yeah,
about a guy who happens to be the president.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they can do that and they can make it work, good for them. Honestly, I because it divides the room usually, and you're trying to make them like you're trying to get everybody on your side. That like what you were saying earlier. And if you're just like, yeah, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a bitch, they're
Yeah.
just gonna be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Uh, but I'm thinking, like, is it a calculated thing? Okay, I'm in New York City, I can do this material. If I'm in Nashville at Zany's, maybe not. Or you have to judge where you are in the country, what the room is like. But that's a tough call to make. It's being like a quarterback in real time,
uh-huh.
and changing your game plan up. I don't know how that works. The, so do you, when you go in to do a show, do you stick to the game plan?
Yeah, almost every time. The only time I don't really is like if I'm working out a new set. I sometimes I don't know how long what I've written is because I haven't really performed it because I don't write it word for word. I just kind of write like cliff notes and then just run the bit like because I'm just talking about how I feel about a thing. Um, so uh, if I am not all the way through the bit and then I get a light or something, then yeah, I'll change it. But
Uh,
for
that
the most part, yeah.
the timing thing has me thinking last night because in a place like this, the stand, and I love this format where it's not just opener, feature, and headliner. It's a lot of really top notch professionals doing short 10-15 minute pieces.
Hmm.
But I was like, how do you know how to time that out? You have to rehearse your show with a stopwatch? Because the one thing I would hate is to work into a piece and you got this piece worked up, and it takes a certain amount of setup and build up, and you're right there, and now all of a sudden your time is up and you got to get off stage. I can't finish my killer piece here because I
Yeah.
haven't gotten to the killer part yet. That would be extremely frustrating with me. How do you know how to kind of figure out what you can do in any certain period of time? Do you practice with a stopwatch?
That just comes with experience. I mean, yes, you do time your sets, but part of comedy is just kind of feeling the vibe of the room. Like, should I dig in here? Should I move on? Um, and a lot of that's just going to come with just doing sets, like knowing what 5 minutes feels like and knowing what 15 minutes feels like. Knowing, it's
Yeah, I get
yeah,
it, but did
both.
that ever happen to you where you got the light before you got to deliver the goods and feeling frustrated? Like, come on, I need 2 more minutes and I'll kill.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've been there before where I'm like, I wanted to say this one thing, like, uh, and yeah, in Philly, a lot of the open mics there, you get 3 minute spots, and you don't realize how short 3 minutes really is until you're doing 3 minutes.
Well,
And
the reason because the first time you do 3 minutes, it feels like 3 hours.
yeah, yeah,
The first time you do 3 minutes, it feels like 3 hours, and then from the rest of your life, it feels like 3 seconds.
yeah, yeah. It felt like the very first time I did it would have been at the Comedy Caravan, and just oh my goodness, like there, I think I actually did 4 minutes for my first set, and I was like, 4 minutes. That's not anything, but like a prepared 4 minutes absolutely is,
Yeah.
and like, whew, that was that was rough. Oh man, I did well, but only because like everyone's first time, they're like, hey, family and friends, everyone come to this thing, and you already like my sense of humor, so this is gonna delude me. That's that's what your first open mic is like.
There are a couple of questions I want to ask. Before I ask the stupid question that I want to ask, I'll start with a different stupid question. Um, again on the timing thing? Because I watch comedians intently, not just to be there to be entertained, but I'm really curious about the art form, and I see people they're doing scripted material that doesn't feel scripted because they want to make it feel fresh for the audience. I get all that, but then something happens and they're reacting and they're doing a little bit of crowd work within that scripted material. Like sometimes that can rob you of the time you need to do the material that you were going to do. And how much does that ever throw you off your game? Like when people unexpected crowd work, somebody just says something that you got to react to, and then all of a sudden you're in a conversation with some dope in the audience or something, and it takes you away from the material you came there to do. Did that ever happen to you?
I'm not really a crowd work guy, honestly. But if that does happen, honestly, what I do is I'll just make one joke and then move back along. Or if they think that this has become a conversation, I'm like, all right, let's get back to the other stuff. Uh, and like, if they keep pushing it, then I'm just like, I'm going to say something mean and then go back to because I'm trying to make this a good experience for everybody, and me having a conversation with this one person
Yeah.
is that worth it?
William Conway says, "For me, I generally close with slow death." I guess that's the name of one of the bits. It's about a 3-minute bit. Yeah. So I asked to be lighted at 4 minutes left, so I know to start my closer. I didn't know you could ask them to do that. I feel sometimes I know Mitzi at the Comedy Store would just kind of order it, order the execution, like get him off stage. Uh, and generally, I know the few comedy clubs that are local here pretty much run that way too. It's whenever the club manager or club owner feels like cutting them off, it's sudden. Like I'm give them the light. I've seen it happen. So that's an interesting um, thing
Something
for me.
very rough that happens is newer comics don't notice the light, and then they run the light, and
Oh,
in a lot of places the sound guy will cut your mic and just bring up the next person or bring the host back to stage, and you'll see them like shining the light or flickering the light, and this person is just like up on stage like, have you guys ever drink coffee? Like, it's just so rough because like when the mic cuts, they're like, what is that?
yeah.
It
Have
gets,
you read Sam Tallent's book, Running the Light?
oh my god, yeah.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's one of the, like, as far as, I guess, description, I don't know, I don't have an eloquent way to word this. The imagery, I guess, the imagery that
yeah.
he builds around everything, as far as what that book is, and he has to like write jokes for a character that he's created. It's a good book, like from
It,
beginning to end. That's one of my top 5 books I've ever read.
yeah, no, it definitely is. It takes somebody. I've had several conversations with Sam about this, but uh, he doesn't have a lot of ego,
Yeah.
even though he's been a headliner and stuff. But he definitely has a very ego in the pocket, and like not no ego to the guy at all. So
Mhm.
it takes somebody with that experience who's been a professional for as long as he has to know the business and live in the business but not be a superstar to be
Mhm.
able to write that kind of book. You have to have that mentality. You have to have all that working for you. You have to be a master journeyman, know your craft, love your craft, but also not be all that super successful to write that book in order
um
to maintain some
yeah,
connection.
it's insane that a person, that is as good of a comedian as he is, to be the type of author that it takes to write the book that he did. Um, what is the main character's name? Billy Ray Schaefer. Billy Ray Schaefer. Um, reading the book, who did you imagine as that character? Did you imagine any other comedians as that character?
Of course. For me, it was Ron White.
Same. It was the same for me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the Texas and the boots and keeping the money in and the alcohol, all of it, all of it. And but he denies that it's Ron White. That Ron White is the inspiration. He said it was a amalgam. I don't know if that's the right word of many comedians, like a bunch of different people. But I have to think that Ron White was the main influence in that whole thing. I forgot what the other stupid question I wanted to ask you about because I asked that question about you know, crowd work thing. Because to me, that would throw me off my game. I've seen it happen to people where you just get lost in. I got to respond to this, and it's almost like the same phenomenon as what happens on social media, where you can get dragged into shit.
if if a person that you're talking to says something so insane that you cannot walk past it, I
Right,
have to dive into what they just said.
right,
Almost every time I have to dive into what they just said. It's
yeah.
but people get drunk and they're like, "This is a conversation now."
Yeah. Um, but the idea now that I brought up with Josh, what is your take on that? If a guy is killing it's got to be a tough place to be. Guys killing the room, and now you're up. Would you prefer that the room not be in hysterical laughter from the previous guy that was up when you get called up, or how it?
No, because if you're able to raise the laughter in the room to such a fever pitch before me, that means that the laughter is there. I just have to find it. Um, I I would rather that than the opposite. I would rather do that than follow someone who got two chuckles in 5 minutes. Because if someone's up there and they're doing well, they're killing, that means they're there to laugh. And they're not just going to like be mad that, like a different style of comedy worked for them 2 minutes ago. It's going to work for you now.
Right. I guess my perspective has been formed by an incident that or a gig that I took 25 years ago now, 20 years ago. A booking agent called me a day in advance. He said, tomorrow night we're doing a thing. It was actually 2003 because there was troops, being deployed. We were going to Fort Dix to do a benefit show for guys and women who were being deployed the next day.
Uh-huh.
And on short notice, and I put together a ragtag band because my band couldn't do it, and it was just me, and I was looking for subs to back me up. We go drive to New Jersey, and we go there, and we have to sit through about 10 acts, including the guy who put the thing together, and they all were bombing terribly to the point where the audience was throwing beer bottles at the stage. And I'm not kidding.
Oh, dear.
It was off. They were booing people off the stage, and now call us up, and we killed. It was like the Beatles at Shea Stadium first time.
Yeah.
It was like they were, oh my God, we love you. And to me, it was like, oh, it's good to have shitty people, and they weren't shitty. They were just bombing that night. But
Yeah.
it's good. It's good to if you have some quality. Sometimes it's good to follow.
I get that. I've been doing shows where the three people ahead of me just did not do well, and then I do really well, and then someone. I remember after this particular show in Philadelphia that had happened, and someone said you were like a drink of water after a mouthful of salt, and I didn't even know what that meant, but I was like, that's a pretty good compliment, I think, and yeah, I get that. I get that too.
Yeah, but the part with Josh was that he let that laughter completely subside. So the room was going crazy. Joe List goes off, welcome Josh up, and he's like almost silent for about 30 seconds, letting that laughter die, and then starting from scratch. To me, that takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of strength in knowing, okay, this room is ready to laugh. I can do what I want with it, and I can set things up without. I think if you were a new guy coming into that, your tendency would be like me. I would just want to tell a one-liner and keep the laugh going while and never take time to set anything up because they're laughing. I'm too insecure that if I let that die down, I can't get it back. You relate to that?
Uh, I guess I guess what he's trying to do is not feel like he's on somebody else's coattails, like
Yeah,
he's
yeah, yeah.
coasting off of their humor with his humor, because like
Yeah, yeah, I
I don't
get
know.
that. Not feeling like you this is somebody else's laughter that I'm getting. I want to, yeah, I get that. But again, I think it takes at least some enough experience to have enough confidence in yourself that you can do that. Because I would be panicking that I'm going to lose them. I'm going to lose them. That's just me.
They're not
Maybe,
gonna like me. Yeah, I get
yeah,
it.
I'm neurotic like that. Oh no, and I'm neurotic about a lot of things when performing. I don't like uh the next guy coming too close to the stage. Like this, I don't do multi-band shows anymore, or multi-musician shows anymore,
Mhm.
because I don't like the next act letting me know they're there. Like I just want to finish my show, and then the stage is all yours. But if I feel like, oh, they're there and waiting to come on, that messes with my head. Like I'm not worrying about the audience now. I'm worrying about the next guy coming up, and I don't like that stuff. But
I get it. I get it. It makes sense.
yeah. Now the clubs in your area, do they do that kind of stuff? The I don't know, 5, 6 really good comics in a night, or do they or tend to do the traditional host, opener, feature, headliner type thing?
Both. So Liberty Funny Bone actually has a thing that they just started called Hot Mic Mondays, and it's like the headliners and the features of the area, the people that have already made a name for themselves, and you'll get like eight, I think it's like 8 people doing 8 minutes. That's what it is, and that's a phenomenal like setup. That's a yeah, you'll get a lot of like very very funny people showcases. That's what that would be. A typical like club show would be the host, feature, headliner, and then host, feature, guest spot if there is one, and then headliner. But showcases are yeah, they're pretty prevalent here.
Yeah. Now somebody told me Tuesday night, and I never thought about this before. Tuesday night is the best night to see good comedy. Do you buy into that at all?
Tuesday night.
Well, yeah, because weekend, it's not Monday. Monday's a, a
Yeah.
burnout day. It's not the weekend,
Hmm.
and so so you're going to see better This was the theory that was explained to me. It was by an Irish guy in a bar, a guy from Ireland with a heavy brogue, and he was trying to tell me about comedy. But he told me you're going to see the best comedy on Tuesday night because comedians are not there for a weekend show. They're working on stuff. They're perfecting stuff, and
Hmm.
you're going to see some really take some chances and see some of the best comedy on a Tuesday night. And I was like, well, that's an interesting theory. People have
Huh.
theories about this stuff.
So, huh. I would say, as just a fan of comedy, that Wednesday, well, I guess Tuesday or Wednesday would make sense because most of those people that are doing those shows, they're like 2 or 3 shows into making new material for the week. They've done their Monday open mic or their whatever, their Tuesday, whatever, and then Wednesday they'll have like that honed kind of, and it's new material still, so it's still fresh. So if you've seen the person before, this is all brand new. Or a a Saturday early show if you're going to a club because they've had Thursdays are going to be the worst because that's the start of your club weekend, and then Friday you're going to have to deal with a lot of like drunk people if you're just an audience member, so you may not get like the full experience. But Saturday early show, the comedian's already 3 shows in. He's comfortable with that area. He's honed like he's felt out the crowds. He knows how he's going to deliver it, and he's got his 45 or his hour tight at that point for that city. So that's, I would say, a Wednesday show or a Saturday show,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Now, in New York City, I think you can expect that some of the crowd is going to be touristy, right? There's some
Hmm.
tourists in New York City. Uh, Cincinnati, Ohio, I would not think the same thing. You probably. So, does that make a difference to you? Do you care about crowds and the nature of the crowd or not? Like whether they're locals or whether they're tourists, and do they make a difference does that make a difference in their appreciation?
I think that if you're crafting a bit, you're not necessarily. I don't know. Hmm. There's a big difference between a 5 minute set and a 15 minute set. I guess I'll say that first, and then I'll say that you're not doing that show just for or that material just for that crowd. So it's got to work everywhere that you go.
Yeah.
So yes and no because you're trying to make a good show for them, but no because this has to work everywhere that you go. So unless you're going to change your set every single night, I'm not Dave Attell, so I'm not changing my set like every single night. I can't. I can't do that.
Oh boy, you brought up hotel. It made me laugh. Last night, and we're kind of out of time here, but I want to get your take on this. Last night, I was thinking because I follow. I don't know. It's a long story, too long for the morning. But following baseball, there's this rookie in spring training that everybody's going crazy over here. Met fans are going crazy over a rookie in spring training. Never played a major league game, and I said today the Mets are going to be unveiling his Hall of Fame plaque. His
Yeah.
uh, but and I started thinking about comedy. Does comedy even have a Hall of Fame? And then I went and looked on because I was like, if not, I'm going to start one. Um, I went and looked online. There's a National Hall of Fame that looks like it was like, well, a really cheesy website put together by a guy in his basement or something. We've got an AOL email account. But then there's a Comedy Hall of Fame, and then that looks like a legit organization. And I was looking through it, and they got pictures, and the pictures are mostly dead people of the comedians who are inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they got like Ed Asner, like people who have never done stand up comedy ever in their life. I can't imagine they have Ed Asner, and people who were actors who were on maybe comedy shows. I forget some of the other people, Archie
Oh,
Bunker dude, and
oh wait, is it this the uh, National Comedy Hall of Fame? Is
no,
that
that's
what
the first one. That's the cheesy guy who with the AOL account. It was the
Abbott
next.
Costello,
But
Laurel and Hardy,
they have
Milton
all these
Berle?
pictures of all these irrelevant people who are not stand-up comics. They're like movie actors that were in a comedy at one time. And you go through all these people, and then right in the middle of like some really like non-comedians, you got Dave Attell's pictures sticking
Yeah.
straight out of there. And I was like, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Like finally one really good comedian in all his bunch, and it's like an obvious sore thumb. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I think we mentioned this when you were on that. I think Dave Attell is like the top of the game right now.
If I had to make like a, let's say a 10-person list, that would be easy. But if I was trying to do that, where I have to make a list of 25, 30, 50, 100 people,
Right.
eventually you're going to get into like saying Buddy Hackett and, Lucille Ball and
Oh yeah, Phyllis Diller was next to Dave Attell, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. You'd be like Jim Carrey, like, and Jim Carrey is a comedian and he's done a lot of funny stuff, but he's not. I don't know how to explain
He's not
that.
even a
Yeah,
comedian anymore. He just turned into like a non-human.
yeah. He's
He's an alien from another planet or something. He's good.
I think if you're that famous for that long, you're gonna end up weird. There's no way to not. I don't think. Who's not weird? Like Keanu Reeves and no one else. That's the only person that's not insane.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. was famous for like 5 years, and then after being famous for like 5 years, turned into the most insane drug user of all time. And then it took him like 15 years to get past that and come back around to normal him. It, I
Yeah,
can't
I
imagine.
wonder about him now because he's got such a weird life story, man. I mean, father getting him high on cocaine when he was like 5 or 6 years old and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a normal life. um,
Just like making your kid do cocaine and being like, "You're gonna be famous one day." Like
yeah,
that's such a crazy Hollywood dad thing to do.
yeah. You got anything in the plans? Anything in the
Mm.
on the burner? What?
In about a month and a half, on my YouTube, I'll have my spring 20-minute special because I'm going to do seasonal specials. So in about a month and a half, I'll have one of those come out, and then about a month and a half from now, about around the same time, I'll be actually moving back and doing the Philly and New York. I'll get all my
I want
shows up
people to
there.
follow you on Facebook, but rarest pupper, facebook.com/rarest pupper. And by the way, what was this? If we don't like you, that's a feminine trait or something. What the hell does it say up on the top of your Facebook page?
Oh, that's my friend Mike. He said that he hates me, and I was like, hating me is a feminine trait. It's a meme, I guess. It's just like you just assign quality to femininity or masculinity. I don't know. It's just kind of an inside joke between me and other people, and it was
All right, but
funny.
what is rarest pupper? What is that?
That is a oh my gosh, that is a PlayStation Network name from 2012. Um, I don't know. It was just like assigned to me then, and I had a bigger a YouTube channel called Rarest Pupper, and I just changed it to that then, and it made sense. And now it just looks silly.
Cool. I tell everybody, are you on Twitter?
No, I got banned for threatening John Lennon.
What did you do?
I got banned for threatening John Lennon in 2022. I just never got it back. John
Wow.
Lennon is you can't really threaten him, I don't think.
No, he's already dead.
Yeah,
He's
that's
already dead. That's an odd one. Okay, I've gotten banned 11 different times, but I keep creating new accounts. But I think if you check the email associated with that account, you had to be forgiven. I think Musk forgave everybody. All my accounts seem to have been forgiven. I could go on if I wanted to have 12 Twitter accounts right now.
I'll
But
check
I
it out.
think for comedians, it seems essential. I don't know why. You're on Instagram, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't know how Instagram works for building an audience, but for some reason, Twitter seems like the preferred thing for a lot of comedians, more so than Facebook and all that stuff. But you don't need a website these days, daily. As a guy who used to sell websites, I can tell you, nobody goes to your website. They're going to go to your social media. But I just was wondering if we are any plans on trying to get back on Twitter or check to see
Uh,
if you've been given
I,
amnesty.
is I mean, the landscape of Twitter. I hope that
All the
it's
political arguing and back and
yeah,
forth, and
yeah.
you
I'd
don't
like
get that on Facebook. You know what? I haven't. I used to see a lot more of it on Facebook.
that.
Now I'm not seeing as much of that.
Now it's just like on Facebook. It's mainly like people arguing about like an incident. Like they'll argue about the what is that East Palestine trail derailment for or train derailment for a week, and then they'll forget. And like it's not it's not as
Yeah,
bad. It's
yeah.
not as bad on Facebook.
William Conway says, "How do they justify that exactly?" I'm talking about your Twitter ban. They don't have to.
It
It's
was
not. y- You don't have. It's not a court of law. There's no rules. It's this is our ball. We say you can't play with it.
they just say like it's a threat of violence, without like because it's just a bot reviewing what it is that you're saying. So there's no like
Right,
nuance.
right. I told a guy was arguing this back in the bleach days, and a guy was arguing about the effectiveness of bleach to deal with COVID. And I said, well, just go drink a gallon of bleach and get back to us. And I got banned. I got banned for that. It's like, wait a minute, I wasn't telling the guy to do something he wasn't saying he was planning on doing anyway. Maybe a gallon was, but a gallon was what got me.
I got on Facebook. I got a 30-day ban because someone said something about the freedom of speech, and it said in quotations, I support the freedom of speech, and then I said, "Okay, Hitler," which it's a joke. It's pretty obviously a joke that makes no sense. And they were like 30 days, and I was like, "All right, I get it. I guess that's fine. I can't do anything about this."
Yeah. So we are out of time, but I appreciate you coming back. And listen, whenever you have gigs, you don't have to come on. You don't even have to come on. But if you want to come on just for a few minutes to promote the gig, if you got something coming up, welcome to do that. Or if you don't want to come on and you just want to help let people know about it, just send me the information and like a week or so in advance, and I'll plug it for you. You know to as often as I can remember to do it. I have a problem with remembering doing things, so I need reminders all the time. But yeah, I appreciate you being here, man. I wish you the best of luck, and hope you come back to the area so I can come check you out in New York.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any plans with that yet?
No? Like I said, I'm moving back to Jersey like second week of April, and so
cool.
I'll be up there soon enough. I should probably go ahead and organize shows and stuff.
Yeah, pick up some spots here and there when you come back in April. I'll come and see you, and I'll get some people to come and see you.
All right, man.
All right, cool. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Andrew Riggs, folks. Follow him. Follow him on Facebook. Facebook.com, Rarest Pupper. Good guy. Hope he has a long, successful career. That's the show for today. I have to go tape a episode of Tasting New York at a place called Beans. Beans. They're good for your heart. You know the rest. I hope it smells nice in there. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, I don't have a show for tonight because we've been rescheduled. It's morning, Mike. Not everybody gets up at 4 a.m. like you and is ready to go, does 100 push-ups the minute he gets out of bed, takes a bunch of amphetamines and ready to white. Oh, wait, no, lemons? No, Yellow Crossroads. Don't make me go down my drug history of uppers. Anyway, bring some energy. Do I have any energy? No. I got nothing. And that's how I started the show this morning, talking about John Pavaramo and Tom Bannis doing their MS 24-hour stream, which is still going. They've been going since 9 o'clock last night, and they have more energy and look much fresher and energized than I do. And I kind of got a good night's sleep. I thought I got a good night's sleep. It's morning. Anyway, that's the show for today. And love to know what you think, other than what Mike's going to say, which is bring more energy. Negative Nelly. There's other stuff I wanted to talk about today that I won't get to. I don't have a show tonight. Tomorrow, Jackie the Joke Man will be here. Here's the thing. Yesterday, I was planning for 2 months now to go to Jackie's show at the Suffolk Theater Saturday night. And then yesterday, in the middle of doing a million things, Mikey calls me and says, "We got a gig, Garden Grill, Saturday night. Can you do it?" And I said yes without even thinking, oh, Saturday night is Jackie's show. So I'm not going to Jackie's show now. After 2 months of planning for it, I won't be going there. I'll be doing a gig at the Garden Grill Saturday night. I screwed up. I said yes too soon. But generally, that's what's going to happen. If you offer me a gig, I will say yes and then think about it later. And that's what happened. That's the show for today. Don't forget to turn on your radio. I'm out of here. I got to go do stuff.
listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen.